There is no greater feeling in golf than stepping up to a golf ball, looking at your target, and then pulling the trigger and hitting this beautiful compressed iron shot. Now, the more often you can do it, the more consistent you are, the more addictive it gets. But there is also nothing more demoralizing or frustrating as when you step up, you do exactly the same thing and then you hit it fat, or you top it, or you thin it, or you shank it. It's horrible, and it really does ruin your scores. So in today's video, I'm going to show you a two-step process that's going to help you hit the ball then the ground with shaft lean consistently, so you can become a far, far, far better golfer and lower your handicap. Now, all I ask for in return is that you give the video a like and the channel a subscribe. So without further ado, let's jump into part one and let's get you hitting this ball far more consistently off the ground. Now, here's the thing. If you want to be able to deliver shaft lean and compress the golf ball, which is crucial because shaft lean helps us get that squeeze on the ball, then guess what? You actually have to have a club face that is coming down slightly closed. Why is this? Shaft lean, as a component of our swing, actually opens up the club face. So that therefore means if we want to have any shaft lean, we got to feel like that club is coming down a little bit more closed. Now, I've seen on YouTube and in other lessons as well, so many coaches talk about sort of this motorbike analogy where you're really revving the wrist down, getting them pointing more down to the ground. And this is great, but a lot of amateurs really struggle to do this. And I see a lot of people, it's like their mind just goes all fuzzy and grey because they just do not understand this concept. Now, the other thing we can do is tackle this a far easier and simpler route. And that route is basically getting us in a position of the dress to where this all just happens naturally. You don't have to think about it, because the less we think about our swing, the better, because it allows us to translate it more to the golf course. So how do we do this? Well, it's all about positioning your arms correctly and your hands correctly on the club. Now, Ben Hogan used to be a huge advocate of this, but when I set up to the golf ball, if you look at the fronts of my elbows here, you can see my left elbow is pointing roughly at a 45 degrees. So if 0 is right in front of me, 90 degrees is right down towards this camera over here, 45 degrees is right across me right there. You can see that elbow pit is pointing at a 45-degree angle. Now, what this does is you can see is it gets my hand in a position where it's also sort of rotated across at a 45-degree angle. So from here, I can get a grip that's number one in the fingers, and number two has this heel pad on top of the grip right there. This is going to help me just naturally get this club coming down in a square position, but also naturally help me get my arm nice and wide on the way through. Now, the trail hand, watch where it is right here. The trail arm, this elbow pit points straight in front of me. It's not internal this way. If it's internal this way and I relax my arm, you see how it wants to open the club face? Not what we want to see. So you want that elbow pit here pointing in front of me. So then when I grip it, you can now see if I come up and I relax my arms, how it gently adds a little bit of closing to the face, a little bit of rotation. So how do I then get it square? I add shaft lean. So you can see how actually by just positioning my arms in the correct position, how the face is naturally going to want to rotate a little bit more closed. Well, guess what? That forces my body to deliver shaft lean, and guess what that does? Helps me compress the golf ball down towards the target. So left arm hangs straight down, elbow pit at a 45, right arm hangs straight down, and you can see elbow pit pointing in front of me. If I do that, then guess what? I'm going to start to, number one, hit some beautiful draws like that, but number two, control the club face more, and number three, promote better width on the way through. So now let's move on to part two, because we've gotten our arms in the correct position. That's taking care of the club face. Now we are able to actually deliver shaft lean, and this is where this crucial concept comes in. Now, what I see so many amateurs do that causes them to achieve this buckled position is they swing to the top of the golf swing. As they come down nice and smooth, and then they get roughly to around here, and to generate speed, they then accelerate their arms very quickly. Now, when they do this, often the hands pull up and through, and look, this causes them to buckle and chicken wing. That is the complete opposite of what we want. What the best players in the world are doing, and again, we're looking at the hands and the arms here, is from the top, they pull them down hard, and then believe it or not, they actually slow the arms down through impact. That gets them into this position here because it allows the club to lag. If I pull down hard, watch, if I pull down hard, the club lags, and then I slow them down to release it. if I continued to pull hard the whole way through, I would never be able to release it. And if I didn't pull hard at all, I get to here and then I'd try and generate speed and I'd buckle it that way. Now, what's the best analogy I can give you? Well, Indiana Jones with his whip. Imagine Indiana Jones with his whip. How does he do it? He pulls his hand quickly forwards and then he slows his hand down, and that sends the energy into the whip. It's exactly the same in golf. From the top of the backswing, you got to pull your arms down and then you've got to send the energy into the whip. So that is the best analogy that I can give you, Indiana Jones. So there you go. I never thought I'd say this in a golfing video, but go watch Indiana Jones. That's your homework. Now, in terms of training this, I have one drill that's just amazing for enhancing this feeling. And then I have a second drill that you can hit shots doing. And believe it or not, you can actually take that drill to the course and just hit shots like that out on the golf course, and it will give you unbelievable results. The first exercise we're doing is an alignment stick pump drill. So what you're gonna do is grab an alignment stick and roughly grip it to sort of the length of an 8-iron. That's kind of the length of an 8-iron right there. And what you're gonna do is set up kind of just inside the golf ball. You're gonna swing to the top, and then you're gonna pump it down and stop at shaft parallel. So you're gonna go to the top, pump it down and stop. So this is training two things. Number one, it's training your acceleration, but it's also training your stopping power. Why is this important? We got to accelerate the hands to generate the lag, and then we got to slow the hands down to be able to release the lag. That's what gives us that beautiful ball and ground contact. So it's here to the top, accelerate, stop, here, accelerate, stop, here, accelerate, stop. And you can see when I do that, the alignment stick does that jiggle. And that's exactly what we want to be seeing. So once you've done the first drill, that's going to teach you how to get some acceleration into the hands. But then I want you to grab the golf club, and we're going to make it very practical in the second drill. So what you're then going to do is set up to the golf ball, just inside the golf ball right now. You're going to do that same feeling of accelerate the hands, but then you're going to try and stop your hands as quickly after impact as you can. And I want you to stop in this position right here with your arms nice and wide, the club just there. So if I go to the top and I try and do this in a rehearsal swing, accelerate and stop. And you can see right here, it's gotten me into that nice wide position. So if I actually hit a shot doing that, I'm gonna accelerate my hands down as fast as I can and then try and stop them as quickly after impact. Listen to the sound that this makes. Here, that is crazy, crazy, crazy compressed right there. I literally felt like a cannon going off. But notice how if I play it back, how I had that acceleration with the hands, and you can see as I accelerate the hands, what's the club doing? It's lagging. That's the amazing thing. We're not holding angles. I'm literally just accelerating my hands downwards. This gets the club coming down onto plane and gets the club lagging. And I actually feel like I'm trying to stop with the whole left side of my body. I can feel the muscles working. That releases the club and that gets my arms into this wide position. Versus if I do the opposite, if I go to the top and I come down super slow and then accelerate late, you can see how it causes my arms to buckle. Now this drill is obviously a massive over exaggeration, but you can do it on the golf course, because if you're really struggling to compress the ball, it's a nice sort of way of just going, okay, let me just get my game back into position. I'm going to accelerate from the top and stop as quickly as possible. Now, you don't necessarily have to stop all the way down here when you're out on the golf course. You could stop at sort of your shoulder height. But who's a great golfer that does this? Tommy Fleetwood. Literally one of the best ball strikers in the world. He does this all the time. And you'll see loads and loads of golfers do this. They'll swing to the top, they'll accelerate the hands down, try and stop as quickly as possible, and that'll get them into that amazing position. They'll start to generate shaft lean, you'll rotate your body more, and ultimately you'll start to compress it just so much more. And you can see there, that's come off at a beautiful trajectory, a little tiny draw, about a 2-yard draw. and it's flown basically the same distance as a normal 8-iron does. So the great thing is this also works for your hybrids and your 3-woods too. And again, I can swing to the top, accelerate the hands, feel like I try and stop them just after impact. Now in reality, because there's going to be so much energy to this wood, I'll feel like I'm trying to stop it there, but it will come all the way up here. So it's naturally going to go all the way through, even though I'm trying to feel like I'm slowing my hands down. So here's what it'll look like. Good arm structure of the dress, then from there accelerate and try and stop them. And you can see as I do that, as much as I felt like I tried to stop him early, I wasn't able to, but it was a great contact. I hit down on it, came out a nice part of the face, ended up being a really nice shot. So follow those 2 steps and you're going to start to strike your irons the best you ever have, even your hybrids and your 3-woods. Now, if you have questions about that, please drop them down below. If you need some one-to-one coaching, I offer online coaching on the Skillest platform, so you can have a lesson with myself no matter where you are in the world. And if you have enjoyed today's video, please give it a like and subscribe, and I hope to see you back here soon.